Okay, yeah. So for EB transition 1718, where is it or where you can find it? Actually, I sent you an email last week. I don't know if all of you saw it, but basically the first thing you need to do is go to log into hubisaac.org, then click here, and then you will see something that looks like this. So I will show you how it looks like. You click here, and then you click in your specific LC. So for example, let's say I'm James and the LCP of Isaac in Taylor's University, and then I click on TU here, and then it will lead me to TU transition framework. So I'm totally able to see what's happening. So for example, for TU, I know that OGV already has 10% of progress, which means that something happened in the OGV transition. So how can I see exactly what happened? I go to transition scoreboard, and then I see that in TU, the VPOGV already transited like expectation setting and transition meetings. That's it. So all the other stuff are missing for all the rest of the departments. So in that way, this tool can allow you to see, like to track what's happening with every department and what are the specific topics that are missing to be transited. And here you can find like more information on resources that they can use to do the transition, as well as specific instructions on how you can execute the session, and you can find that for all departments, and all the content, like some of the content is standardized so that we make sure that all VPs on different LCs but the same department actually know the same thing. Yeah, so that is how the tool works, and it also includes the timeline of the transition together with LCP transition timeline, and like transition camps, and all the things that are happening, exams, and also MCP elections and EBMT bootcamp plus NPM. Yep, so basically that is how you can access the transition framework. And now to talk about how does the transition framework works. So the first blog is called Getting Started. So basically it's a space for both VP, current, and elect to set expectations towards each other, and also like what are the transitions behaviors that they should have and the schedule that they're going to have to make sure that they can understand the role and JD of the LCVP. So basically there is when you set expectation, like what do you want to learn of this transition, what are the things that we will have with each other. For example, like, oh, I promise you that I'm gonna be accountable, or I'm gonna be punctual, I'm gonna be responsible, like I will execute my transition homework, this kind of stuff, to make sure that everyone is on the same page between the LCVP current and elect. Second part is the LCVP elect block, Who Am I? So it's more like a coaching facilitation space for the LCVP to know what are their personal values, passions, strengths, and weaknesses. So this is similar to the LCP transition framework. You should have already gone through this phase where it's more about reflecting on who you are as a leader, and how is that going to affect your term as an LCP, in this case as an LCVP. And then the second part is LCVP role, which is lead. And then here is about them understanding their leadership style and how to select a team, how to utilize their strength to lead the team. And after this is something that I want you to remember of. Like, do you remember when we were talking about this? Like mind, core competences, like agility, growth, empathy, eagerness, all those stuff that I was telling you about in terms of selecting your EB with the right competence, and also understanding what are the competencies that your EB should develop in the future. Then yes, we also designed the transition based on core and on competencies as well. And that's why we have a blog called Core Competence, when it's like the space where they will learn the managerial competence to be a better leader based on the competency model. So that's when they will learn about eagerness, growth, ambition, this kind of stuff that are based on the competency model of Isaac. Yeah, and then lastly is the functional competence, which is the learning what are the functional skills of their respective functions. So for example, like specific SOPs or the customer flow, or if they need to know if they're PM, for example, they need to know like TM process or how team standards work, these kind of things that are specific to their department. Yeah, so at the end of the day, for the transition framework, everything is standardized except for the functional competence. So why are we standardizing everything in the transition framework in terms of what are the topics that need to be delivered? Is because we want to make sure that all of our EVs are having at least the same basic knowledge about Isaac. And the transition framework is really, really basic. It's like really the bare minimum thing that you need to know as an LCVP so that you can start your term, so that you can go through planning process, so that you can go through a learning, like the learning curve that you need, so that you can focus on leading your people and not only on executing the task, and you can actually execute your role as an LCVP. So in that sense, that's why the topic is standardized, and that's why we are across function delivering the same content to make sure that everyone is having the same journey. For example, a VP of PD and a VP of PM should both, from different LCs, have the same opportunity to learn about their personal values, their leadership style, why are they in this role, what is their motivation, what is the thing that keeps them going to be LCVP, what is their purpose. So all that personal part is like standardized in the sense that we are having a benchmark for everyone to be able to comply to. And then as an LCP elect, what's your role? Because yeah, I mean, your LCP elect, maybe you don't know exactly what you need to do to make sure that the transition is happening. But actually you have a lot of important, a very important role to play here, because to be honest, if your VPs don't get transition, you're gonna lose like 4 to 5 months of your term trying to get your EVs on track. Like trying to catch them up on what is the things that is happening in their department, trying to teach them things, trying to make sure that they know what's happening, and your planning will not be good, and you really are going to lose at least half of your term. So that's why it's important that in this time you can make sure and support the team to make sure that they receive the transition law. So one of the things that you need to do is to track, which is the most basic one. So one thing that I did when I was MCP elect is that we included in our MC meeting the transition scoreboard. So in every MC meeting, I follow up with all the MC team, and together with John, who's my predecessor, the MCP current in that time, exactly what is the progress of each department in the transition. And I follow up with both the current and the elect to make sure that things are happening. Secondly is about internal comms. So we're going to start posting in Facebook every week, like the progress of transition, and we're going to also send it through email so that you can all know what's happening with your department, specifically in each LC. So it's also good for you to utilize that. And if you have your own internal communication channels in your LC, for example, WhatsApp group, Telegram group, or I don't know, whatever you use, or Slack, or your own Facebook group with your LC, you can also use those channels to let people know about the progress of the transition. Then secondly is to facilitate. So another thing that I did when I was elected, when my team and me were just elects, is that I had one-to-ones with them, and then I facilitate for them to discover what is their personal learning and what is the thing that they really want to know during the transition period, and to have very clear goals. And I let them know the importance of fulfilling the transition and attending the meetings, doing the homework, and all these things. And so, yeah, that's like one thing that I really did. Like before they started transition, I'm already having one-to-ones with them to make sure that they're on track. And I communicate the output of that conversation with the LCVP current so that they can know what is the expectation of their successor towards the transition process. And then is to coordinate law. So make sure that you have a very clear synergy with your LCP current, with your predecessor, and also use Google Calendar. For example, put all the transition dates in Google Calendar and ask your VPs to put it there and check it with them to make sure that they at least have it scheduled and at least like everything is clear in that sense. And then lastly is take care of the timeline. Because the transition one-to-one should be over by the 8th of January so that your EVs can be extremely ready for EBMT Bootcamp and MPM, and they will not be lost when they are having the planning process and everything else there. Yeah, so if you want to know our current state, you can actually click here. This is a live tracker that updates itself every time any VP current of ISAC in Malaysia edits the transition framework and puts done in any tab. This will be updated automatically. So you can click here and you can keep looking at it. And basically, overall, ISAC in Malaysia, our current implementation of the transition framework is only 2%. At the same time, good job to ISAC in KP, UK, MNTU, because you already started. And most of the progress actually is happening in OGV department. So good job, OGV. Okay, Benjamin. Okay, good job, OGV. And then because it's progressing quite fast. And I think like if you already started if your VPs already started having transition before the framework was released, it's fine. Like you just need to go to the tracker and then put down the things that you did before. At least update it, because I think the progress should be higher than what it is right now. Yep. And then, so yeah, call to actions for you is to 3 things. So first of all is have a conversation with your LCP current to coordinate the transition. Like how are you going to follow up? What is the support that your teams need? Secondly is to have one-to-one talks with your VPs elect to make sure that you can set expectation with them about the learning they want to have. And third of all is to make sure your VPs current update the tracker law so that you can actually know what is the current progress, rather than they just tell you, yeah, I did it, or yeah, I didn't do it. And then in that way, you can actually measure or know what is the quality and the progress that you're having like your VPs are having in their preparation. So yeah, now I'm gonna leave some time for questions, and you can let me know if there's any issue that you're facing or anything that you really want to know about transition, and then I will clarify with you directly, Lo. Yep. So let me mute myself, and I will book 2 minutes for questions. If you don't have questions, you can also say cool or put a wave on the chat box, and then I can know that I can move on to the next topic. That is awesome. And then I'm gonna move on to the next topic, which is time management. Yay! So yes, when you're LCP elect, your life is hell, I know. Like this little drawing that I have here, he's dying in the burns of the exams and transition and LCVP stuff. And yeah, that is why I'm here to help you with the time management capacity building space. So I'm gonna share a bit of what I know from time management that I've learned. Really, I learned in ISEC, and I learned like through reading online. And you can also do that. Like I always go to Mind Tools and find like articles and suggestions of how I can improve in my workload and how I'm managing myself. So for those of you who say that you're struggling or you are working on learning about self-management, I hope this is useful for you. And so yeah, take your notebooks and pens and enjoy the time. So what is time management? So time management is the process of planning and exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities, especially to increase the effectiveness, efficiency, or productivity. So it's a very conscious process in which you are gonna plan and exercise the control over the task that you are having. So not only, it doesn't mean that you are finishing fast, it doesn't mean you're doing a lot of things at the same time, but it means that you can plan and execute based on the thing that you are really, that you can perceive about the task that you need to do. So in the content that I'm going to give you, I'm going to talk about 4 things. So one of them is to-do list, meaning how can you use to-do list to really, really help you to do your job effectively and efficiently. Second of all is about prioritization. So I'm going to share with you a tool that I use. And also all of these things, I'm also adding on references where you can read more and learn more with articles and videos and things like that, more information. The third thing is to divide. Which is about categorizing your work since you are managing a lot of areas at the same time. And lastly, personal tools and routines that I use that really, really help me to keep myself on track. Because as MCP, I really have a lot of things to take care of at the same time. So these are some of the things that I do to make sure that I can be always on track and I never miss like any deadline or anything that I need to do. Yeah, so the first thing is about to-do list. So the first thing is like list down all of your activities. So what does that mean is like when you sit down, the first thing of course you need to do is like to-do list, right? So you list down all the things that you really need to do. But here the important thing is like when you have a very big task, don't put the big task only. For example, if you have to, I don't know, like select EB team and you put select EB team, that's a very stupid thing to put in a to-do list because it's huge and you won't finish it in one day. So break it down into steps. For example, like send an email to Eva and tell her that she's amazing and she's the best MCP I've ever seen in my life, which is amazing. You can do that every day if you want to, and I will also send you an email back. So yeah, it's a very small activity that is very, very specific and that you can actually finish very timely. Secondly is like classify them based on urgency and time, which is something that I will teach you later how to do. So don't just like put all the 70 things that you will have to do because Isaac is crazy and then your exams and your mom is asking you to go out with you, with her and your sister, and then you have a girlfriend too because you're that kind of person, very popular, and then you have like your past EB team and the past EB team and the past director EBMT team and all these teams of people who want to catch up with you and you want to have relationships with. So in the end you have like 80,000 things to do in one day and you're killing yourself. No, classify them, like what is really important, what is really urgent, and make sure that you are able to like cut the things that really don't need to be done, that they really don't need to be done by you. The third thing is to divide them by days and classify. So actually for me, like I make my to-do list for the week every Monday and then I just follow that. And sometimes I need to like change some stuff, like change the deadline or maybe like deprioritize some stuff when I go. But every week, like I'm getting better and better at planning my week. And then that way it makes it very easy for me. And then the other thing is to break down the activities you need to fulfill. So make sure that it's not a big task, but like small steps. So if you click on this link, it will drive you to Mind Tools, which is one of my favorite places to find like how to do my job, basically. And it will show you some videos and articles of how to use to-do lists in a very useful way. But this is just like an example. And then, okay, so the second part, which is divide, is like, okay, as when I was doing this session, I'm thinking, okay, so these people, what are the things that they have currently in their lives going on? So one of them, definitely your LCP role. Secondly is exams. Third one is family, which can also be girlfriend, boyfriend, complicated person, relationship situation, or person I like but doesn't like me, whatever, that person there. And then, or friends maybe outside of Isaac, and the current role that you have. Because some of you are directors, some of you are members, some of you are VP, but you have a current role. So in that sense, there are always things that you need to do and like different areas. And I think that is what makes it very hard about being an elect, is that it's not that you have a lot of work, but you have a lot of work in different areas of your life. So it's a bit scattered and hard to put things into place and to know exactly what should you focus on. And sometimes it might be so much work that you can froze and like don't know how to move forward, or don't even know what is the next step that you should take to make sure that things are done. And so many people tracking you, so many people expecting things from you, that it can be really overwhelming. So that's why in the divide part, I'm having like a couple of tips that you can follow to make sure that you can catch up with everything. So for LCP role, first of all, is to really talk to your LCP current and align expectations. Like, what are the things that you expect from each other? What are the things, like the amount of time that you can work on Isaac stuff on a week? Because a lot of time LCPs current, they're like, oh, my role is about to end, I'm gonna give everything to my elect. And it's like, no, you actually need their support. So that's why it's very important to align expectations with your LCP current. And even though you are really excited about being an LCP elect and you want to take over as much work as possible, and you want to be this like awesome elect that is doing everything and talking with the people and stuff, yes, it's good that you are responsible for your LC. At the same time, don't kill yourself taking more things that you need to take. So just align expectation with your LCP current. And second is like talk to your EB elects if you have any, and set a routine and expectations too. For example, like, hey, this is the time that you can contact me. This is the time that I'm going to be extremely available. Let's have dinner around this time, or things like that. So in that sense, you set a routine and expectation so that they know when they should contact you, and also at the same time, so that you already start having spaces to hang out with them, like, oh, let's have a weekly dinner or a weekly meeting or something like that, like let's go out, or let's like have some bonding time as well that you can schedule. And in that sense, you can like focus on them in that time rather than focus on them all the time. At the same time, you're focusing on a lot of things, but really divide your time focus. Then the next one is like, ask from your MCP what are the things that you should be doing. So if you're lost at any point of time, I think most of you are very clear, but if in any point of time you are lost, like, hey, actually, I don't know what I should be doing as an LCP, like, because I haven't received any transition and I don't know what's happening. Don't worry, I was LCP before, I was MCP like before, I'm MCP now. I kind of can guide you on some things, maybe not everything, but I can give you the 3 things that I think you should be doing right now. For example, is like preparing for planning, making sure that your EB is being onboarded, like selecting them and making sure they're having transition and they're being inducted by their MCVP and EB transition. So as long as you're doing those 3 things is good, but also like have in mind, like being an elect and having LCP role is a lot. At the same time, it's not as much as some people think. Like, you just need to take care of these things and then it will be fine. Yep. And then the second thing is about exams. So for exams, I think the first thing is like have a clear schedule of your assignment and exams deadlines. Like map everything out. If you need to put it in your room, like what are all the subjects that you're having and all the assignments that you need to do and the deadlines, and really, really have it visual there. And second of all is like set a time in your calendar that it can be sacred for exams. So for example, like I will study like this amount of time every week, this amount of days. And then you can have like mentally, you can prepare yourself, but you can also communicate that to people. Like for example, with the MC, EB elect, LCP, whoever it is that you're working with, let them know. So bro, this is my Google Calendar. This is the time that I'm gonna be studying. Please don't bother me at this time. And this is the time that I'm totally available for Isaac. I'm totally available for these things. Because at the end of the day, time management a lot of times is about relationship management and setting the right expectation with people, so you can make sure that whenever people are expecting something from you, you can actually deliver, and they don't expect things from you in the wrong time. Because if you have exam, and that's it. But you need to have it like clearly projected for people to know, so that they won't give you more work to do whenever you cannot really fulfill. Yeah. And then family is like, again, having very clear expectation to each other. Like I think one thing that helped me with my family is that I told my mom, whenever I'm very, very busy, like I'm in these times that I cannot really take care of anything other than my work or the things that I'm really doing in my university, I would tell my mom like, hey, this is what's happening right now in my life. Like a lot of communication with her, and to let her know like for this amount of time I'm gonna be extremely busy, so I can only compromise for the bare minimum. So for example, me and my mom, in my house, we used to have like weekly, like every 2 or 3 days we would have dinner, we would go out, and then this time I'm only committing to once a week I'm gonna have dinner with her in the house. So it's not the same like before, but then for a period of time I let her know, and then it's either when I was doing exams or doing like any peak in Isaac that I really, really cannot commit to so much, because if I try to do everything, I'm gonna collapse as a person as well. So I think just communicating with my mom about this, it really helped. And if your parents are too strict, then find a way that you can at least let them know what you're going through, without expecting them to compromise. And then the second thing is like communicate the why to your parents. So a lot of times why parents don't like Isaac is because they don't understand how is this organization giving you any benefit as a human being, and they want you to just go and work and find a job that gives you 3,000 ringgit or 5,000 or 10,000, I don't know how many ringgits a month, and then that way you're able to put into investment the money that they invested in your education. So that's totally normal because parents are like that. My parents are also the same. But only when I started communicating with my parents the why, like why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and they start seeing actually how I am growing as a young person and how I am evolving as a human being, then they start seeing the value of me being in Isaac, and they start like encouraging me to take more roles, encouraging me to spend more time with the organization because they see the value. But if you don't share with your parents these kind of things, then they will never celebrate that you're in Isaac, but they would always be like a roadblock for you to improve or to do more. So try your best to communicate with them, because think about it, right? Like when you have a very good job and you make money, you bring money to your parents, right? Like after you get like when you get your salary, you bring money to your parents, or you let them know like what's happening with your job or the things that you're going through. So it's very easy for them to know what you are learning or what is the value that your job is having for you. So they will actually encourage you to keep working. So why not do the same with Isaac or with any other activity that you're doing in your life? Like make sure that your parents know about it. And then lastly is like communicate your plans on how to manage your time, so they can also support you, maybe give you insights or any of their ideas on how they do it as well. Yep. Then for current role is like have very clear expectations with your current team leader. So if you're a VP with the LCP current, if you're a director with your VP, if you're a member with your director, like have very clear expectations with them. Like these are the things that you can expect from me. This is the time you can expect it from me from. This is the time that I'm going to be working in ISEC. This is the time I'm going to be working on my exams. And then have clear expectations with your potential successor or your successor if you already have them elected. And this is extremely important because I remember like one thing that I did very good is that when I was elected MCP, I started delegating all my work to Xiaomei already because I know she might be my successor. But then the good thing is that I'm delegating to her so she can take care of a lot of my responsibilities, and also it helps her to learn before starting her term as VPOD. At the same time, I didn't set clear expectations with her, so I also didn't know like what are the things that she can commit to. So in that sense, it's like be clear with your successor or potential successor on what can they commit to, and like let them know you need their support, and also frame it in a way that is going to be for their learning rather than you are doing everything. And to be honest, if you're going to be LCP, also it's better for you because it's like a practical experience that can help them to make mistakes before they actually start their term, which is beneficial for you as an LCP as well. And then, yeah, so delegate as much as possible and focus on facilitation and follow-up. So instead of just focusing on tracking the activity that the person is doing, focus on facilitating their process. Like, for example, what are you learning from the task that you're doing? What are you learning from time management? What are you learning from the pressure that you're going through? How are you growing? What are the strengths that you have discovered about yourself? These kind of things. So in that sense, when you delegate, don't just delegate and track them, but actually help them and be there for them as the team leader that you should be, and follow up on the things that they should be doing, but always supporting them to make sure that they can do it without collapsing because they're doing the work that you should do. Yeah. And then, well, on my laptop. Yeah. Yeah, so that is all for the dividing part. And then for the next part is about prioritization. So for the prioritization part, this is like a simple matrix that I use. And I also put more resources there for you to read about. And in this matrix, you can classify things between urgency and importance. So in this axis you can see urgency, and in this side you can see importance. So basically what you need to do is you need to place your tasks in these 4 quadrants. So if your task is highly urgent but not so important, then you put it in this side. If you're highly urgent and highly important, then you put it in this one, and the instruction is to do it. So that means you need to execute as soon as possible. If it's not urgent but it's highly important, then you plan it. So you make sure that you know, at least you know when are you going to execute it. If it's not important, but at the same time it's urgent, then you delegate it. So because you cannot execute it, and it's not important enough for you to execute it yourself, so you delegate it to another person, so to make sure that it happens. And if it's not important and it's not urgent, then don't do it, because it's not important, it's not urgent. So why are you going to do? So just eliminate it. So this is something that can help you when you are listing down, especially when it comes to things about VP, like your VP responsibilities or your director responsibilities, if you're a director now. And also like your exams or things you need to prepare, or for LCP stuff, just use it. But then at the same time, use it divided. For example, you make one for each area of your life. And then that way you can make sure that you know separately what are the things that you really need to focus on. And it's something that you can do every week as well. So it can help you to organize yourself, organize your tasks. So yeah, keep it separate areas, and decide top 2 things that you really want to do in each area of your life for each week. Don't go like ramble, like, oh my god, I'm gonna do everything this week because I'm extremely good and smart. No, like you can only do so much. Yeah. And then secondly, make sure you book time and have clear deadline for each of your tasks, and finalize one compiled to-do list after you're done. So once you're done with prioritizing for each area of your life, then you can compile like one full list that has everything there. And it's a good exercise to do on a weekly basis to make sure that you keep yourself on track. Yeah, and then the last thing is about Pomodoro. So I think some of you have heard about the Pomodoro method before, which is something that I use to make myself more productive, and then to produce more in like to get more stuff done in a very short time. So how I do is like you have sessions in which you are working. For example, you have each session lasts like 30 minutes. And then you have, after the 30 minutes, you have 5 minutes break. And then after, you do the same thing 3 times. And after the third session, you can take 20 minutes of rest. And then the main thing about Pomodoro is that you need to have very clear goals to achieve in each session. And you need to be very disciplined to actually follow the time, to take a break and to work during those 30 minutes, like nonstop. And also communicate with people, like if you have people around you, and let them know, hey, I'm going to be working, so please don't interrupt me. And yeah, you can read more articles and see more videos and tools and other things that you can use for this technique in this link that is here. But this really works to make your work to make yourself more productive if you have problems with that. And the last thing is also use Google Calendar. So yeah, I don't know if you know how to use Google Calendar or no, or if you use it or not, but Google Calendar is extremely useful. And if you click on the image, it will lead you to a video that teaches you about Google Calendar, Google Reminders, and how to use them. But I won't teach you because I think it's something that, I think is easy to learn now. So just click on the video and you will learn. But basically, one thing that you can do is like sync your Google Calendar with your phone and your laptop, communicate with people, meaning share that calendar with everyone in the world so that they can see it, they can see when are you busy, when you're not busy, and revise it every day. For example, if I show you my calendar, it's extremely crazy because it's a lot of stuff. And this is my laptop calendar, but I connected with Google Calendar so I can see everything that I need to do. So I know like all my meetings, all the tasks that I need to execute, all the time that I need to spend with people, and things like that. And I can, I have the important deadlines are here, and then that way I can know exactly what's happening and what's happening at all times. And then my team can also see my calendar and they can book me in the times that are free, and if not, they don't book me, because it's a good tool for me to communicate. I even share it with my mom, and then she knows also when I'm working, when I'm not working, and then that way we also know when can we talk, call, or communicate with each other. Yep. And then the last thing is about how do I do it. So for me as an MCP, I have a lot of things to take care of, right? I was telling you, for example, I have wait, my laptop, yeah. I have like to take care of internal comms, or I have like LC coaching or conferences or MC consultancy, regional meetings, MC coaching, global meetings, LCP meetings, MC meetings, external meetings, LCP one-to-ones, LCP education, global meetings. I need to educate myself. I need to have my personal life. So at the end of the day, it's a lot of stuff that I need to take care of at the same time. And yeah, sometimes it really can be a bit overwhelming. So one thing that, there are only 3 things that I do that really help me. So first of all, I have my Monday routine, which is what I told you before. So every Monday, once I come to the office, I will spend like 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and a half working on me prioritizing. So I will divide all my tasks, prioritize what are the things that are really important, set my priorities for the week, and revise what is the thing that I really want to achieve this month, and then break it down into very small tasks and break it down into days. So if you see, because in the MC we use Slack, I think I can show you, I have like in a chat I text myself, and in that text I tell myself everything that I will do in the week. Voila. Take some time to open. I text myself like what I need to do in every day of the week. And then on every day, we have something in the team called daily priorities. So every day in the morning, we said like, what are the things that we're going to execute? And at the end of the day, we say what is done and what's not done. So it's not so much for us to track each other, but for everyone to be very organized on the things that they need to do every day. And that should be connected to the things that you want to achieve weekly, which we report on that on the MC meeting. And yeah, it's a very good tool for self-management. And like every time I finish a task, I can go to my notebook and like scratch it off, or I go to Slack and put done. And then it gives me a lot of satisfaction about the things that I'm achieving as an individual. And then for Pomodoro method, yes, I also use it. I actually used it today when I'm preparing this meeting, or with other things, especially when I'm very packed and I have a lot of work to do in one day, a lot of deliverables. That is something that I really do to make sure that I'm on track. Yeah. So that is all, if I'm not mistaken. For call to actions, is to plan on your own routine, share with us when it's done what are your learnings, and then test it and share it with your EB as well. So try different things in the following 2 weeks that we're going to have before our next capacity building session, and then that way you can make sure that you have important insights and learnings that you can share with other people, like from your teams that you're electing, or from your teammates right now in their current EBs, and also with us. Yep. So if you have any questions, I will leave this open for you for a couple of minutes. If you don't have questions, put cool. If you have questions, then you just ask. So the last 2 topics, almost done, is about what to expect from MC Moonshot and summer peak preparation. So for MC Moonshot, the first thing is about EV transition. That's something that we're working on. So what are the things that are done is LCP one-to-one transition framework, LCVP one-to-one transition framework, done, released, you have it, is in your control. Second is what are the things that you really can expect from us in the following weeks. So one of them is one-to-one VP guideline per function video. So by the 22nd of December, we will release a video for each function. The very short video that talks about how, for the VPs current, to know how they can actually facilitate the transition for their successors. Second of all is a template for LTC agenda on the 21st of December. So Xiomei is working on that, and she will, by the 21st, she will release what are the things that that you can talk about, and what is the output expected from your transition agenda, like team to team transition, that you can use. So do I have to follow the LTC agenda extremely every detail? No, as long as you can make sure that the minimums are fulfilled in your agenda, and you can make sure that you generate the output, then it's okay. The template is just for us to help you to have it then there. If you have any questions, you can contact us, or you can also contact your LC coach, and the MC also knows about this thing. And then your role as LCP lead is, first of all, finish your LCP transition by the 31st of December, and second of all, make sure that the EB transition is done by the 8th of January, because if these things don't happen, then basically in EBMT bootcamp and NPM, you're going to be lost. Like, oh, what is conversion? What is expa? What is timeline? Who's my mom? This kind of stuff. So make sure you have the transition done, so that the things that happen to your predecessors don't happen to you. I tell you, I had VP finances crying to me during their planning, like, I don't know what is a budget. And I was like, yo, have you ever received transition? So yes, transition, extremely important. Don't take it for granted. The future of your organization depends on that. If you don't do it, you will lose 6 months of your term. As I told you before, it's extremely true. if you don't believe me, go ahead and try, and then talk to you by the end of my term, in the middle of your term, when you tell me, Eva, I lost all my term because I didn't do transition, and then I say, yeah, I know. It's okay. You can move on. So next, 2018 planning, yay! So we're also working on that. What's done? Basically only one thing, which is the planning, sensing, and submission, which is the spreadsheet that I've been tracking like almost every week and asking you. So really want to say congratulations to all of you, because there's a huge progress done, and in the past week a lot of you already input like your targets and the things that you want to do, and that's really good, and I'm very proud of you, so good job for that. At the same time, it's not 100% done, so for those of you who are missing, just do it. Very simple. Just go there and type your target, type your strategies. If you don't have a strategy, then just let us know. Heva, I don't know, what am I doing? I don't know what is attraction. I don't know what is OGV. And I'm there for you. I'm going to teach you what is OGV. I will teach you what is attraction. Don't worry. So what to expect from MC for 2018 planning? First of all, LC planning framework. By the 25th of December, on Christmas Day, our present to you will be the LC planning framework, which is going to be extremely simple. It won't be like the one that I did when I was MCVPOD. Don't worry, my successor is 10 times more smart and simple than me. She's not crazy like me. She's very smart. So she will do a very smart and simple transition planning framework for you. And then planning guidelines. So during MPM, we will give you like a facilitation of how you should do the transition and a lot of education as well. So that's what you can expect. Then what is your role? First of all, finish the planning and submission sensing. If you haven't, just finish it. Second, make sure that you follow the guidelines for LC planning in terms of preparation. So if we ask you, hey, you need to bring 20 contacts of your membership so that you can call them, then you do that. You don't bring 5, you don't bring 2, you don't bring 3, you bring 20. Because if you don't bring 20, then in the session you're gonna be like, hey, where are the other 17 or 15 contacts? I cannot do this session. And then you lose that part of the process. So make sure that you follow the guidelines. And third of all, really give feedback and ask questions to the framework. If you see something doesn't really make sense, let us know, and then we can see how we can improve it. If you think like you don't understand something and you really want to know, then really ask questions, because you're going to be responsible to facilitate most of the process. And there's only so much we can do to prepare your people. Like the one that can really do a lot is you. So let us know how can we help you, and give us all the feedback in the world that you think is necessary, so that we can make the framework the best that it can be. And then about EBMT Bootcamp and NPM, what's done right now is the network sensing. So in the past weeks, we did this sensing that is like super long, and we had like 200 responses, or I don't know actually how many we had, but a lot of responses from the network, where we collected their learnings, their ideas about ISEC, AM 2017, the MC, their own experience, why are they here, this kind of stuff, and what is their condition or the current knowledge that they have. So based on that, we did a dreaming process for EBMT Bootcamp and NPM, and the things that you can expect is a draft agenda by today. So today, Xiaomei and Sufei are currently, as I speak, I can see her next to me, finalizing the draft agenda for EBMT Bootcamp and NPM. Oh my God, so awesome. Yes, I know, it's awesome. And then the final agenda will be done by the 25th of December. So tonight, with the LCPs current, we're gonna get feedback from them. I'm also gonna send you like the output of that space, and then you will know what is the feedback that we're getting, and by the 25th of December we will launch the final agenda. And then by the 25th of December also you will get NPM preparation checklist, which is basically what are the things that you need to prepare for planning, like documents or information, which is not going to be that much, so don't worry, it's going to be simple, but you will get the checklist by the 25th. And then your role, give feedback and ask questions. So if you see anything that you don't like, give feedback and tell us why you don't like it, why you think it doesn't make sense. Ask questions if there's anything that you really don't understand that you need us to clarify for you. Follow the NPM preparation checklist. So like I said before, if we ask you for 20, bring 20. Don't bring 2 or 3, bring 20. And then make sure that all your EBMT attends. If it's not EBMT, at least potential MTs should be there, if you don't have all of them elected. Why? Because you don't want to miss half of your term trying to onboard your people. Like, we are paid and we design all these spaces and we work 24/7 for your people to be prepared for their term. So really just use the space rather than trying to create it yourself, because it will take you more time and then you will really lose a lot of time in your term trying to make sure that people are on track. Yep. And then the last thing, which is NEB meeting. So what is done? Nothing yet. That is the truth. We haven't done anything. The only thing that we've done about NEB meeting is that we talked about what needs to be done. And we talked about like the topics and the things that need to happen, but we haven't really started executing on that. We just have the idea. So what to expect, final agenda by 27th of December. The agenda will contain things like LCP capacity building, of course, legislation. I didn't put it. I feel like a failure. I should put legislation here. Legislation. Yes. So the agenda will contain things like LCP capacity building, legislation, dreaming process beyond AM 2017, LCP preparation for EBMT bootcamp and NPM. So those are the things that the agenda will have. 27th of December we will send you. You can give us feedback. And yes, that is your role at the end of the day. For NEB meeting, it's very simple. Give feedback, ask questions, and attend NEB meeting. That's it. So just make sure that you're there. You need to be there. LCPs elect. LCPs current will be there from 1 to 2 days. We haven't decided yet, but by the 27th we will know like how long they should be there. But for now, what we're thinking is that we really want them to be there for the dreaming process for beyond AM 2017. So to clarify, what is that? Well, you know AM 2017 is going to be over in a few days. Actually, in 13 days, 11 days. So when that happens, we need to see what happens after AM 2017, and that is why we are going to make sure that we have that settled when we create the process for us to dream what should happen forward, and that's going to involve you. It also will involve LCPs current because of their experience and the things that they're seeing right now as LCPs. So yeah, that is all for this part, and I will give you time to ask me questions if you have any. What time is the meeting later? Because Manfun informed me to proxy him. Also, what is the agenda? Okay, so the meeting later is at 8:30 p.m. The agenda will be talking about customer flow implementation, talking about ABMT and NPM agenda, talking about MCP 1819 knowledge, skill, and attitude and role definition, and talking about what's happening from MC as of now. I'm not sure. Oh, and also the things that are always there, like check-in, check-out, operations update, call to actions from functions, and those things, which are more functional. Anything you need to prepare? Nope, don't worry. No need to prepare anything. You just need to be there on time. Yeah. Normally, if there's anything to be prepared, I will inform the people who are attending, so don't worry for now. So Tarani says, just curious, like in our transition dashboard under touchpoint, there is some from MC. So will be an extra for it, or will it be delivered in our capacity building meeting? Transition, there is some transition from MC. Will be transition. Ah, you mean in the LCP transition, right? Okay, so Tarani, that's a good question. For LCP transition, like all the topics that are supposed to be delivered by MC are delivered by me in these meetings. Yeah, so things like time management, EB selection, all those things. Why I'm giving you that is because when we build the transition for LCPs, we define what are the things that the LCPs wanted me to deliver as MCP, and this is actually part of your transition as well. Like when you receive this kind of session from me, that is part of it. Some of them will be delivered here. Some of them will be delivered in EBMT bootcamp. Some of them will be delivered after, like during NEB and after EBMT bootcamp. And if you want to know how the content looks like, you can actually go to, where can you see the, okay, yeah. I think I showed you in the last meeting that we had the L&D for LCP, but I can show you again. Look, I will put the link here for you to see. Wait lang. LCP L&D. Yeah, here it is. You can see it in this link. Yeah, cool. Any more questions? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Satu, Happy New Year. Great, awesome. Yes. So the last topic before we go into what will and even better if is about summer peak. Yay, summer peak! Who's excited for summer peak? Woo! Yay! Woo! Impact. Okay. Leadership development. Okay, Shomei, thank you. Top 10, bro. Okay. Tom Yum. Yes. We all here share what we really want. For example, they want growth. I want Tom Yum. And that's why summer peak is going to be awesome. Because I'm going to drink Tom Yum every day. Because we're going to achieve. Oh, by the way, congrats. We achieved 405 approvals until now for winter peak. Yay. So yeah, so summer peak is really important, but the most important thing is preparation for summer peak, and that is your job because you're LCP and you have the most important role in the whole organization and the whole world. So your role is to prepare. And what do you need to do? Only two things. It's amazing. You only need to do two things. So first thing, you need to know that the deadline to open opportunities is the 31st of, it's not the 31st of December, it's the 31st of January, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Yeah. Deadline to open opportunity is 31st of January of 2018. Yay! And I'm not giving you this deadline because I'm like awesome or something or I'm crazy. No, this deadline was not set for me. It was set by Kiki with the VP's IGV. So if you have any question, you can ask them. I'm only letting you know. This wasn't my decision, although I think it's a very good decision. And yeah, so based on global timeline, you can know that we need to be on time. So yeah, that is the deadline that we set for open opportunity. And then deadline for attraction planning for OGV attraction is 25th of December. Yay! So if you want to make sure that you are achieving OGV, then you need to make sure that by 25th of December, meaning in about 5 days, you can finish your OGV attraction plan. So Eva, what the fuck is OGV attraction plan? Where do I find that? Don't worry. Just need to talk to Sarah about it and then she will send you the link. And if you really, really want to know from me, then I can ask her to send me the link and I can send to Euro. But this information was already communicated to the VP's marketing like weeks ago. I think like 1 week or 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, about OGV attraction. And IGV open opportunity was decided a few days ago in the commission meeting. So you are the one who is finding out now, but the people actually knew about this days ago. So it's not like I'm giving you 5 days to do these things. I'm just letting you know so that you know what are the things that need to happen for summer peak preparation so that you are aware of that. Because if you're not involving yourself in making sure summer peak happens, believe me, you're going to start your term in February and you're going to be like, you know what? It's impossible for me to do this because you have MRD and the start of semester and everything coming up to you. So that's why we are giving you everything with time and we're guiding the process for you to be able to prepare with time and to make sure that you can achieve in your peak. Yep. So do you have any questions about those stuff like summer peak preparation or anything like that? If no, then I can straight away go into what will even better if for this meeting. When is the registration for EBMT Bootcamp and MPM gonna open? That's a good question. Give me a second to ask Xiaomei. Registration will launch by the end of this week. Thank you for asking, Tarani. That is a very good point. If there's no registration, there's no conference. Cool. Awesome. So any other question about anything? Yes, no, yes, no. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay. Cool. So let's do what went well and even better if, and you can straight away like toggle if you have anything to say. If you don't have anything, then say wave lab. But it will be good to get your feedback. If you have anything, it will be good to know. So I will put 3 minutes for that and then we can close them. So what went well and even better if?
What went well for me was effective and efficient. So like it was very informative and it was delivered in a short time.
Cool. Thank you, Mike. Let me take notes. Slide deck. James, what do you mean slide deck attached with the links? I don't understand.
What I meant is like you gave us the link to the resource. So it's like thing where you put into to fulfill like read more for like a to-do list.
Okay.
So like everything is here inside the slide deck. It's really I would say, and it's really useful for us so we can like reflect back. Like we take notes, but this is like the foundation. Everyone has this, so not like everyone's notes is different. So I think this is really something really useful and good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's see. So here it says it's informative and didn't waste any time. Yes, you will never waste time with me, Papi. Don't worry. Okay, Ing says content and Eva explanation is clear. Fraser says, very useful information about time management. Excited to implement and share to my team. Yes, implementation, Fraser. Exactly the word that I was looking for. Good job, bro. I'm proud of you. And yes, I think the key thing here is to implement and share with each other and with your teams is really good. Because like a lot of time, like I tell people, because they're like, oh, but why don't you read this book about self-help or you read this article? And I always say, okay, it's good to read, but it's more important to actually practice the thing that you read and share with people. So that's a really good point. Thank you for pointing it out. And next week in our next call, I'm going to also follow up on that so that you can have more clarity of what people are learning. Okay, so next one, even better if, purpose for each session. For example, the purpose of why are we talking about time management, personal suggestion. Okay, cool. So actually, Jinshuan, I think like one thing I can do is I can show you the LCP, LND, and I can tell you in general why. Because the reason why I'm talking about that topic today is because that is the plan that we have, and there's actually a reason for each topic. So what I can do is in our next meeting, I can prepare L&D presentation so that you know exactly what topics are you getting. Yep, that's a good suggestion. Thank you so much for your input. Anything else that anyone would like to add on? Nope. Nope. Cool. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope that this was useful for you. And remember your call to actions. That is the most important thing. Like planning your routine and having meeting with your predecessor to set expectations about time management and all those stuff. That's the most important thing. Anytime that you need, please write it down in the group. I'm here for you 100%. And yeah, let's talk more in our one-to-ones this week. Bye-bye. Love you. Take care. Don't die. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Bye.
Thanks, Eva. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.